Hi everyone! Been a while, hasn't it? Not really my choice, but hey, since the scripts for the next couple of videos are taking a really long time for me to work on because of a whole bunch of stuff that's been happening in my personal life, I figured, hey, let's do something I have never done before on this channel and make a completely unscripted reaction video to some pseudoscience that's been going viral on social media. This pseudoscience once again comes to us from this guy, as posted by the Twitter account Waken Minds. Now, given the name Waken Minds, you might think that they are trying to awaken your mind to actual science and education. But no, this account spreads pseudoscientific bullshit on the regular. And this chap is someone you may recognize from our video a few months ago looking into the misinformation spread by another large Twitter account called the Flat Earth Library, which, yes, means that this guy is a flat earther. If you remember that video, you'll also remember how he claims that ancient people had serious technology that they used to use lasers to cut rocks. It was very, very bizarre. Now, in this video, he's going to be making some utterly bizarre claims about dinosaurs. So let's have a look and see what he has to say.
I don't think dinosaurs existed. I think the Matrix made them up completely.
This guy will repeatedly refer to The Matrix throughout this video, and it's very unclear if he's referring to the conspiracy he claims to believe in as The Matrix, or whether he believes we live in a simulation a la the movie The Matrix, or if he can't tell the difference between movies and reality. But anyway, let's have a look at the evidence he has that all of these definitely real skeletons that have been discovered, many by regular non-paleontologist people and described by scientists in peer-reviewed journals, are apparently not real. Let's look at his evidence.
So the Matrix is telling us that these creatures lived from 240 to 66 million years ago. All right, and they got wiped out because an asteroid hit the Earth and created an ice age.
Oh boy. It's absolutely hilarious to me how they will say The Matrix says this and then proceed to make a claim that no scientist has ever said. So, no. For one, you did get the dates kind of right, but you need to acknowledge the fact that, like, these dates come from actual radiometric dating of rocks. They don't come from The Matrix telling you. Also, here's my question. Why is he saying that the Ice Age happened right after and as a direct result of the bolide impact at the Cretaceous-Paleogene mass extinction event? Because it didn't. There are tens of millions of years between asteroid hitting the Earth and the first Ice Age. Like, the Earth was much, much warmer than it is now at the start of the Paleocene. And we have a very comprehensive paleoclimate record coming from marine sediments and foraminiferal oxygen isotopes and magnesium-calcium isotopes for that time interval. You can read about this in a whole bunch of papers by authors like James Zakos. This is a bizarre claim, to say the least.
And you guys understand that this is fake information, right?
Yes, I understand that you saying the Ice Age was caused by the meteorite impact is fake information. Because it is. You didn't check your facts before you made this video.
This is evolutionary propaganda.
Evolutionary propaganda? What? No, evolution doesn't need propaganda. It became scientific consensus because there is extensive scientific evidence for it. We have an entire fossil record full of intermediate transitional fossils, because really every animal is in the process of evolution right now, and populations are always undergoing change in response to environmental stressors. In addition to the fossil record, evolution is supported by the comparison of living animals and living animal groups, and the fact that we see strong evidence for adaptive radiation in things like Darwin's finches. It's also supported by genetics, the entire field of genetics, which conclusively demonstrates that all life on this planet is related to each other. Evolution does not need propaganda. It is scientific consensus because we have extensive evidence for it. Even if we didn't have dinosaurs, we would know that evolution is real. Like, I strongly recommend watching Gutsick Gibbons' teaching Will Duffy evolution videos. They're really, really good.
And also, they created these creatures in order to hide the fact that giants existed because they found giant, bones in these burial mounds. And the Smithsonian was like, you know what, we need to explain away why these giant humanoid bones are here.
Oh, of course this guy thinks that giants were real. Like, I'm not actually surprised at all, given that he thinks ancient people with lasers were real. I'm sorry, but there is no fossil record of humanoid giants. Like, all of the animals that we call dinosaurs have radically different skeletal anatomy to humans. Like, look at a dinosaur's hip structure, and then look at a human's hip structure. Look at any of these dinosaur skulls, and then tell me that it makes sense that these were a cover-up for human giants.
Why, yes, hello there. I am a humanoid giant.
And the Smithsonian was like, you know what, we need to explain away why these giant humanoid bones are here.
The science of dinosaurs began in the UK, not in the Smithsonian. 2, what does the Smithsonian have to do with dinosaurs discovered outside of America? 3, I'm sorry, but these are not humanoid bones.
So let's just say these reptile creatures lived millions of years ago. And that'll solve it because they believe everything we say. They'll take that, okay?
No, I don't believe everything that other scientists say. I am sometimes critical of other scientific papers, and I encourage everyone who reads the scientific literature to be critical of it, and to look at where they think they can find issues with those papers, maybe start dialogue with scientists, or start trying to write response papers and get those papers peer-reviewed by experts. This is how science works. If science was just working on a take our word for it basis, science would have fallen apart because, all the scientists, myself included, are very, very inquisitive and very, very critical. This is absurd.
LIES. Okay, you guys know what that spells, right? Cap. Look at this. The T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex, completely disproportionate. How is he holding his upper body? Hold on, let me show you. Look where his legs are, his tail back there, and then look at all that weight up there. So, the tail is gonna balance this way.
Okay, first, it's kind of weird to me that he says how's it going to counterbalance, and then points out that it has an extremely large, muscular, thick tail that specifically evolved to do just that counterbalancing. But he says it in such a kooky way as to make it sound ridiculous.
If he falls, how does he get up?
You could ask the exact same question about an ostrich, and yet they seem to manage, so what's the issue here?
With those little arms, he just pivots off of his head.
Well, probably. I don't see any real reason why they wouldn't have been able to use their heads. Hi, editing me here. I've just realized something. So basically, all that the T-Rex would need to do to get itself, back moving, is get its legs under its center of gravity. I am really struggling to find a place to put my phone. So, God, that is a terrible place to put my phone. So, like, here. Imagine you are a T-Rex. You're running, you're chasing down some prey, and you trip over. So you're on the floor, and your legs are not under... Well, firstly, if you trip over with one foot, you've still got one leg nearish to your center of gravity. You can just push up, put the other leg back under your center of gravity, and then you can get up perfectly fine. Second, let's say you fall sideways and your legs are no longer under your center of gravity. You can't so easily push up. It's just tuck your legs in by your side. That's kind of a terrible demonstration because this thing fell apart. But, you know, tuck your legs in as best as you can and just roll onto your front. And then all of a sudden, your legs are here and then you can just push up. And hey, you're standing up again. This was so complicated, right? Like, just put your legs under your center of gravity. You don't need to use your head.
It just seems like he's not built right. He's bad built. Like, and I don't think these creatures are real. I don't think God made any of these things. And these are all casts. They just pour some type of resin or whatever in a cast to create these bones.
Okay, so there are casts of dinosaur bones which are usually, though not always, what's on display. However, at any dinosaur museum pretty much, there will be some real bones on display. And all of those casts are cast from real bones. And there will be extensive skeletal elements which are modelled after the bones of close relatives of the animal that is being displayed. Like, I'm sorry, but this isn't an argument against the existence of dinosaurs when countless scientists throughout the world have been studying the real dinosaur skeletons. Like, something I always wonder about these conspiracy theorists is like, how do they think students would react? Like, imagine if you had been passionate about dinosaurs since you were a kid and you finally, like, did your undergrad degree, you wanted to do a master's degree in some kind of aspect of dinosaur biology or taxonomy, anything to do with dinosaurs, and you wanted to look at these bones and say, as soon as you start your project, your supervisor was like, I'm terribly sorry, young man, but dinosaurs are not real. We have been tricking you this entire time. Genuinely, how do you think those students would react? Like, the sheer disappointment on those students would mean that they would all be, like, mass posting about this on Twitter, and this would, or on Facebook, like, all over social media. And this would just instantly destroy the conspiracy. There is no way for academia, as open as academia is, and as many students are involved in academia, for this conspiracy to reasonably exist.
To create these bones. I don't think any of this stuff is real. And then the fossil fuels from these dinosaurs, right?
Fossil fuels don't come from dinosaurs. They come from plankton. Unless we're talking about coal, in which case that comes from coastal swamp forest. Neither of which are dinosaurs.
Fossil fuels originate from the remains of ancient plants and animals that were buried under layers of rock and sediment over millions of years.
Well, actually, most of the stuff in crude oil comes from plankton, which is often mostly made up of single-celled protists, which aren't plants or animals. You're saying plants or animals because instead of reading an actual piece of the scientific literature, you're going with a terrible Google AI overview and doing no research beyond the AI overview. Like, I'm sorry, but Google's AI is shit when it comes to science communication and science education.
So, it's rare. It's rare. You better, salvage it. Because it takes a long time to get new fossil fuels, right? That's fake information. fossil fuels allegedly are not renewable. I think there's an unlimited supply of these fuels, but they want to create a scarcity mindset and have control over the supply.
What? My dude, please just study exploration geology. Like, we can use seismic techniques to locate where oil is underground. Like, we can use sedimentology and biostratigraphy and trace trap rocks and locate source rocks for these materials. We know with a very high degree of confidence that these things are not renewable. Like, I am just in awe at the level of illiteracy here. And this video has 359,000 views and 10,000 likes? God, just read a geology book. You know, it really does frustrate me as a science communicator that these people are just on Twitter making these bullshit videos, not fact-checking any of their claims, not reading anything beyond the AI overview on Google, and act like they're experts and like they debunked science. It's genuinely pathetic.
And jack up the prices, so they'll say it takes a long time to create new fossil fuels, but in reality it's unlimited. But they don't want you to know that.
I love how he started saying they, like he's barely even hiding the anti-Semitism here, but also just read a geology book.
And then people say, oh, we know how old these bones are because of carbon dating. No, carbon dating is only reliable up to 50,000 years.
Okay, this is absolutely maddening here because he's acting like scientists claim to use radiocarbon dating to date dinosaur fossils. They do not. I have used radiocarbon dating in young Quaternary sediments, but they are not used by Mesozoic researchers because there isn't any radiocarbon, that's C14, left once you go back millions upon millions of years. He's exactly right that past, he says 50,000, but usually it's like past 60,000 years, radiocarbon becomes useless. Instead, we use a wide variety of other radiometric dating techniques. Things like uranium thorium, rubidium strontium, uranium lead, among others. And these are things which we can also correlate using things like cyclostratigraphy in the micropaleontological record. We can use dated horizons using absolute dating techniques and correlate these across using index fossils, which on land could be things like pollen species. Like, this is not complicated. He's just acting like scientists only use radiometric dating, when we clearly don't.
Okay, because of carbon-14's half-life. So even if these bones were real, you wouldn't even be able to tell how old they actually are because carbon dating is unreliable.
One, carbon dating is pretty reliable when used in conjunction with a whole bunch of other absolute dating techniques, but also, two, nobody was ever using carbon dating for dinosaur bones in the first place.
I don't think any of this, I think these are all fake. These are all made-up creatures, mythical. But one type of creature that's not mythical are dragons. It seems like dragons actually existed.
Is he kidding me? Okay, so according to you, pterosaurs, which we have an extensive fossil record of, are mythical, even though we have exquisitely preserved fossils like these. But dragons, which appear in mythology and which we have no fossil record of, and which are radically different from mythology to mythology and often associated with magical powers and stuff, that is more realistic to you?
Now, I'm not into the Zodiac stuff because I think it's demonic, but
Of course he believes that dragons exist, but also doesn't believe in the Zodiac because of demons. Please provide some evidence that demons exist first. You are treating this as a prerequisite. That, as far as science goes, is an extraordinary claim which would require extraordinary evidence to demonstrate. Much like your conspiracy you've imagined.
But the Chinese zodiac signs, they have all these real creatures, real animals, except, oh wait, they have the one fake dragon, the one mythical creature. Why would they have all these real creatures and then just throw in some make-believe crap right here? Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Maybe they didn't realize that they didn't exist? Or alternatively, just had a lot of cultural reverence for them. That doesn't mean they were real.
Why would they do that? I think it's because dragons were actually real. Hold on, let me show you something else. 1946 dictionary. Dragon. Now rare.
Are you seriously claiming that during World War II, as recently as living memory, there were still dragons flying around the world? Why is there no documented evidence for this? When it says now rare, you will notice it's after the number 1 and says now rare before saying a huge serpent, and that is before it gives its definition as a fabulous animal, generally monstrous and winged. So to me, because that is just one definition, meaning a huge serpent or huge snake, that to me implies that that definition of the word dragon, i.e. for a large snake, has been deprecated in use, and most of the usage of the word is for what the dictionary itself describes as a fabulous animal. And I'm sorry, but when people use words like fabulous in academia, we're not talking like, oh, it's so fabulous, darling. We're talking like, this is not a real thing. This is a fantastical creature. It's something that isn't actually real. So unless you can provide evidence that people were actually seeing, were actually photographing dragons in the 1940s, you're just bullshitting.
A huge serpent, a fabulous animal, generally a monstrous winged scaly serpent. Now rare, which means at one point they weren't rare, which means at one point they were prevalent.
No, it means the usage of the word is rare. When you look at a dictionary and search for an animal, it doesn't say a rare species of such or a common species of such. And there's good reason for that, which is that species can become rare or more common over time due to differences in selection pressures, in significant part because of humans affecting their habitats. This is not something a dictionary would say. This is a willful misinterpretation of something which we would have enormous amounts of evidence for, because the 1940s is an extremely well-documented time period due to the fricking World War going on during it.
And there's old artwork of dudes slaying dragons. All those books and TV shows and movies of dragons being in there. But they're mythical. However, the dinosaurs...
So according to you, dragons were definitely real because people painted them. What about this painting of a Greek goddess, or this painting of the Gorgon Medusa? Now, you are a Christian, so in theory, you don't believe that these things existed. Are you going to say that these things are real now because they were painted?
The dinosaurs are absolutely real. All that propaganda, those movies, the Jurassic Park and all that stuff, it's all programming and propaganda. But then they will say, dragons are mythical. Mythical. Pretty much the opposite. Whatever the Matrix says, the opposite is the case. The opposite is true.
I'm genuinely curious what he means by the Matrix. Like, does he think we're actually inside a computer program? Or is he using the Matrix as shorthand for his imagined conspiracy? Dinosaurs exist in movies because they are cool. Dragons are also in movies and TV shows because they are cool. The question is, how does including dinosaurs in movies and TV shows brainwash people into not believing dragons existed, but including dragons in that kind of medium doesn't brainwash people into thinking dinosaurs didn't exist? The logic here is so utterly bizarre.
Now, for the Christians that think that Noah had 2 of each of these kinds, all the different dinosaurs, on the ark, can you please explain why you think that?
Finally, he's asking good questions. I wonder if he'll think about this properly and realize that it means that there's no way that Noah's Ark was possible.
And if that was logistically possible. I don't think so. Those Brontosaurus joints, Triceratops and T-Rex made on there too. I think we should question what the mainstream is telling us about these creatures that I think are absolutely fake and made up.
Well, that was that video. It was certainly one of the videos of all time. I can't believe over 10,000 people liked that. Like, it was just really stupid misinformation. There's genuinely a part of me that wonders if he was just flat out lying, because he clearly did enough research into radiocarbon dating to know how long it worked over, but somehow missed the fact that other radiometric dating techniques exist, which to me just rings as it's very hard to find out one piece of information without finding out the other pieces of relevant information. But hey, that's just this guy. Maybe he's genuine, maybe he's grifting. What do you guys think? I hope you enjoyed this probably terrible video, since I always script things in advance and this was not. So it probably wasn't even very good. I don't even know why you're watching this. Do you know why you're watching this? Who knows? In any case, I know I've been saying this for the past like 4 videos now, but I've made sufficient progress to the extent that I'm very confident that my next video will actually, for really reals, be about the Nanotyrannus situation. And then for a while, there's probably going to be a lot less debunk and response content on this channel, and we'll be going more back towards educational content. But there will still be a fair amount of responding and debunking, because my god, frauds like this are just eating up the algorithms on social media and misinforming people en masse. And right now, the world has a ton of politicians in power who are anti-science, and a voter base who is being influenced by anti-science misinformation. So I need to still debunk this shit, and will continue to do so, but I'll be doing it better, actually scripted. In any case, thank you very much for watching. I'm only able to keep making videos and really eat at the moment, thanks to my wonderful Patreon supporters. Huge extra special shout out to my amazing 4am tier supporters: Aries, Geneva, Milo Gaylord, and Bivigiranti, Sonteneguro, Homostatoni, Calamandoli, Papozu. My spectacular Dilophosaurus tier supporters: Ours, Futurebird, and Critozoology. And my delightful Radiolarian tier supporters: Rowie Utting, Glenn Collins, and Jean and Eric Feenstra. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day / evening / whatever it is when you are, and I'll be back soon, hopefully, with some actual SciComm content rather than whatever the hell this was. Bye!